Bryan, so it's good to actually meet you in person.
Yeah, finally.
I know, finally. I think was it 2022 that we worked together when you were at GoGuardian?
I think so, yeah. 2021, 2022.
Yeah. And I remember meeting you the first time. I was like, I talked to several people on your team, and there was like this big buildup. You're going to have to talk to our VP, Bryan. And then what I loved about that first conversation, though, and what is going to be, I think, a really big theme today is like, you just love like being in the trenches, and like you love like the tactical parts of like being a seller. Mm-hmm. At that time, we were talking a lot about pipe gen and outbound and, cold calling and what that's like in ed tech. And, more recently we're working with the sales team and, process and all of that stuff at Neo4j. So it's good to have you. What I want to dig into is I thought it'd be kind of cool to cover and dig into your background a bit. Mm-hmm. And you've been an IC, you've been a manager, director, VP of sales. What I thought would be good to start with is if you could take us back to your time, I think at ADP, was that your first sales job?
ADP, yep.
Yeah. So ADP is, they're sort of known for having great sales training, right?
Yes,
but how did you get into sales actually?
Yeah. So my first job out of college was actually in tech recruiting.
Okay.
So this was 2009, where it was virtually impossible to get a job anywhere.
Yeah.
So I did get a job at a recruiting firm, Grow Advisors, fantastic people, through some college connections. Still am in touch with a lot of those people today.
Yep.
But I was not a great recruiter. This was not for me. But I did learn how to call, how to search online, how to leave voicemails, like just how to use the phones effectively. Mm-hmm. But I had a friend who was at ADP, or he had just started at ADP at the time. And so he was telling me about it. And I was so, ready to leave recruiting that selling payroll and physically going door to door sounded really good.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was like, wow, if I can get this job, that would be amazing. So at ADP, it was 6 or 7 interviews that you have to move through. Pretty selective candidacy process for selling payroll to small businesses. But I was like, that just kind of set the course for the rest of my career. Like great office, great culture. Still lifelong friends that I have today. I spent about 2.5 years at ADP, really just learning my style. Like it was just so many at-bats, so many meetings. If you messed up a meeting, you had to dust yourself off, walk next door and try to schedule something else. Try to schedule another business meeting for yourself. The training was excellent at ADP. Can't say enough good things about it. Mm-hmm. 2 weeks out of every year you would spend training. Yeah. And it was a role where, your ability to earn and be successful was totally in your control. I mean, ADP had the science of, X number of dials leads to Y number of meetings, leads to this many opportunities and closed deals. It came down to like will. Like, do you have the will to actually do it when your boss isn't watching? Yeah. So a lot of great experience there. Learned a ton. But actually from my tech recruiting days, the short stint I had doing that, I learned a lot about Akamai, because technology folks from Akamai were like gold in the recruiting period at that point. So I always had that like kind of up in my mind is like, man, if I could ever get there, that would be incredible. Yeah. And just kept knocking down doors, kept trying to get into Akamai. Finally, they were expanding an inside sales team. And I was pretty persistent with the recruiter and with the hiring manager, elbowed my way into some interviews, got through it, joined the team, and just felt like, I had really landed. I mean, at the time, that was a pretty tenured inside sales team. Yeah. A lot of folks had 5 or 7 or more years of experience. And then at that point, I was into tech, and that's where I've been my career. And so I was at Akamai for 6 years, 6 great years, worked with a lot of different leaders, a lot of great sales reps. Yeah. And then moved around to a few companies since then, and now at Neo4j.
So tell me, I'm curious, you mentioned I developed my sales style. And then you've also mentioned, I'm just imagining, Bryan, a decade and a half ago, you said, elbowing my way in. Like, how would you describe like your style when it comes to this stuff? Is this like, hey dude, I just hammered the phone and like, I just called this person until they called me back. I sent them emails. Like, tell us more and bring us a little bit back so that we can like get a better idea of like who Bryan was at that time?
Yeah. So at ADP, it was a volume game for the most part, right? I mean, the number of dials you made, number of doors that you knocked on, there was a direct correlation to how many meetings you could get. It was a little bit of a simpler equation than I think what a lot of our tech sellers face today. And my style was always one of trying to understand if there's a problem that the business owner had that was in any way, shape, or form payroll related. If it was, I would be persistent. If I couldn't sense that or couldn't get the feel that they have a priority where they have any interest at all in speaking with me, I would just move on. And I think that high degree of prospecting for 2.5 years helped me. I don't think many people are born with that instinct, but you kind of have to hone it a little bit of, where's their interest versus where is this just a waste of everyone's time. And so that was something that I developed, I think, over a couple of years there. And then can
I interrupt you real quick?
Of course.
So like, were you like, hey, I'm going to build really good rapport with this person and like that kind of thing? Were you really blunt and serious? Like, I've never seen you run a deal or anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's like, what, how do you show up in those interactions?
In the first couple of meetings, it was all about, trying to understand if there's value that I can provide to the person. If I can provide some sort of value, some sort of meaningful outcome to this person, then we can talk about having a really good relationship and building a friendship and rapport. But I didn't try to do the opposite first to build the relationship. To me that and even when I still see some AEs or SDRs try to do that today, it can come across as a little disingenuous in my opinion. Like we don't have a relationship yet. Right. Let's not jump fast forward to that. And maybe that's just my East Coast style a little bit.
This is what I love about the East Coast, though, the direct nature of everything.
Is there a problem here? Is there value that I can provide? Is there a reason that you would take this meeting that you're going to get something out of it that I can provide? And if yes, then great. We've got like the foundation set where we can build a relationship. We can build some sort of a rapport and not just a business relationship, but a friendship, hopefully at some point too.
What it seems like you have a pretty good knack for is like knowing that someone that's very busy, what they are going to, the criteria that they might use to decide if they're going to like put time and attention into something. And what also sticks out to me too is like you seem to really come from a place of like service for the customer. Like I need to figure out if this is going to be beneficial to them versus like all of the things that we want as sellers. Where did that come from for you? Is it something you had to learn and be taught, or was it something as a kid you had a parent that sold or ran businesses? Like where does that like business acumen come from?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I love my parents, I love my family, but we do not have a business background in the family. My dad's in medicine, my mom's a teacher. A lot of educators in the family. So even still, when I talk to the family about what I do, they're kind of like, "Oh, interesting. That sounds cool," but no idea what you're talking about. I think part of my nature and something that I have to be cognizant of in a leadership capacity. I do like to please. I do like to try to make sure that the folks around me are happy and taken care of and feeling fulfilled. And I think that lends itself to a mindset of if you can get something out of this interaction, I get what I want. Right. So I think a lot of sellers maybe kind of put their own ambitions and interests first. And it can work against them. Whereas if your number one priority is like, why would this guy take a meeting with me? Why are they taking this meeting? Why would they buy? Why would they put a $500,000 PO in front of their boss for approval? Like what's in it for them? If that's your number one train of thought and what you're trying to understand, then your needs will also be met. Right? Because you're going to spend time on opportunities that are worth your time and will actually close. Whereas if you're thinking about the opposite, maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't, but it's the buyer is in control for a lot of like, what's in it for them.
This, from my observation and working with you at a couple companies now, seems to be like your superpower with your team too. It's like the relationships and really understanding like what's in it for the rep and like what do they want. That's driven a lot of like how you show up, it seems like, and build those relationships. So let's talk about, so at Everbridge, this is your first sales leadership job at Everbridge?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. So I don't know about you, but the jump for me to a frontline leader, the stuff as a rep came pretty naturally to me. Mm-hmm. As a frontline leader, the lesson I was taught, and I had great sales training, was something along the lines of your biggest strength is going to be your team's biggest weakness, because all of this stuff that you intuitively do, you're not going to think about how to teach that.
Correct.
And how to look for that. So I really struggled with that. But what was that, the first 3-6 months like for you as a first-time frontline leader?
All the rookie mistakes that you read about in any sales leadership book. So I was a part of a really successful team at Everbridge as an individual contributor. Had done really well, and the team was expanding. Right, so this was a newly created leadership role on a team that was going to be new to Everbridge. We were just basically slicing geographies a little bit and creating a new team, but I was moving into a role where I was now leading teams or team members that I had just been peers with, and a few of them had also interviewed for the same role. So it was a little interesting going into that, where I took the approach of way too much of like trying to build a relationship and a friendship with them and make sure that we were, hey, are we cool? I know we both interviewed for this role, but are we still cool and everything's okay? So that was the first mistake that I made. The second thing was I really took it like from a prideful place of like, hey, the underperformers, I'm going to get them there. I'm going to get them to club. I'm going to get them over plan. And what I learned the hard way, and this came through the form of an employee like annual review, and I'm really thankful that she put this in, but she was our top performer on the team, and she put in, I want to spend more time with Bryan than we do. We don't spend enough time in deal coaching one-on-ones. And she's like, hey, you'd been a really successful individual contributor here. Like, show me the path, like teach me some new things. And that was coming from our top performer.
That was like a light bulb moment for you, it sounds like.
Yeah, that was where it was like, okay, I'm going to steal a quote from a prior leader, but sometimes you can't turn a chicken into an eagle. Like those folks that are down low. It's you want to help them develop and coach them and progress them, but sometimes it might just not be a good fit, and that's okay. But your A players that's really where you need to be spending the majority of your time. Right? Like this particular person I'm talking about, she had a super high ceiling, right? She could get to 150%, 200% to plan. That's worth your time as a sales leader. And so, that was an important lesson to learn the hard way.
Yeah. It's almost, there's this matrix that I use when we're prioritizing business projects at Outbound Squad. And it's, on one axis, there's effort. On another axis, there's impact. And we tend to spend a lot of time on things that are really high effort and low impact, working with a C player, for example, versus stuff that's low effort, high impact, where it's like the multiple on your time working with an A player is like spending an extra hour or two with them a week to have them hit 200% a target is like, that's a high ROI. So let's talk about so you became VP of Sales at GoGuardian. You're VP of American Sales at Neo4j right now. Let's talk about this being friends thing. Because I think this is a really big part of like how you've established yourself at new organizations, like how you've thought about that has changed in the last couple roles.
Yep.
So when you think about the relationships and building those internal champions, like how have you tactically gone about doing that? Like, and what I mean by that is like, hey, on day one, are you thinking about that? Like, who are gonna be my lieutenants? To use a military analogy. Yep. Talk us through how you think about that.
Yeah. So I think your first week or month in at a new role, first impressions matter. But when you're working with these people every day, like your mind can change, opinions can change. Somebody might not come off with a great first impression, so just remain open. But I kind of think about it the way that when I was a seller, if there was a leadership transition, what am I looking for? I'm looking for you to coach and develop me as a seller, help me achieve my goals, exceed my goals, make money I've never made before, and also help remove obstacles. Every business has some level of dysfunction and some processes elements that need to be improved. Go fix some of that stuff. And that was sort of the mindset shift that I took on of they don't need another friend. They don't need the comedian necessarily. Like maybe I can be the inspirational speaker here and there, but they don't need that right now. They don't need anything other than somebody that they can trust and follow, who can remove obstacles and help them achieve what they want to achieve personally and professionally. And through that, if you're not worried about like, hey, over time we're going to become friends, and hopefully that can last for a life, but it's not going to happen overnight. It certainly isn't going to be the first week, first month.
And it's probably not going to happen with someone that's underperforming, right?
Right.
That's just kind of a sad, I don't know if it's a sad reality, but it is a brutal truth of business. Like, I love the people that work for us at Outbound Squad, but they have to perform. They wouldn't be there if they weren't performing. So there is a certain expectation of that.
Yep. No doubt. And when I go in, I'm looking at obviously performance of historical performance, but that's not the only thing. I'm looking at, over time, culturally, who are the right fits here? Who's contributing in a positive way to the culture? Who's aligned with our values? Who's jumping on board? Who's challenging the status quo in a healthy way, not in a detracting way? And then who's doing the right activities? Right. To me, culture and activity are huge. If someone's performance isn't necessarily there, those are the first two things that I look at of like, hey, am I going to have this person's back or not? If you're a really good contributor to culture in a positive way, if you're doing the right activities, I'm confident we'll get your performance to where it needs to be. However, it is a performance-based profession, and performance is binary. It's pretty black and white in sales. And if over a long period of time that activity just isn't there, then those are conversations as a leader you have to be willing to have with people who might be a good culture fit, have the right activity. If you don't, you're holding them back from being successful at another job, in a different career, at a different company, maybe a different sales play. They might be a really good fit for if they're a hard worker and a good culture fit. So those are some things that we've learned over the years.
Yeah. When you start working with a new company, like, how are you intentional about doing one-on-ones with everyone? Like, do you meet with some of the reps? Like, what are some of the things that you do to just get the lay of the land and start building the relationships?
Yep. So definitely make the one-on-ones a priority with the AEs, and give them a heads up of like, here are some loose agenda topics that I'd like to talk about, questions I'd like to ask you that you can give some thought to prior. I'm not going to surprise you in this conversation. And then anything else that you want to bring up, this would be the time to do it.
What do you want to know in those meetings?
Who's bought in, like early in a new role?
Yeah.
Who's in?
Yeah.
Who's really in? Like, are you mentally in it? Are you successful? Are you proud to be here? Happy to be here? Do you really care about the team, the culture, the product, the customers? And you can get that sense pretty quickly. Yeah.
So you're doing like a full-on evaluation of like the roster, and like you're taking mental notes on like every single person,
and written notes.
Yeah.
And those can change over time, but I keep that. And actually it's January right now. So right now I'm going back to some of the notes that I took last year in Q1 and seeing how things played out. But yeah, just trying to understand like, who's in. Like, we don't need to, everybody's a unique individual. I'm not asking for everybody to be robots, but like who's in it, who's on board, who's rowing in the same direction versus who might be a little bit of a skeptic. And let's try to get that person on board. But if they won't come on board, then it's like, hey, we need to move in a different direction.
So as a VP with your directors and or managers, what do you do in a situation where you come on board and you can tell that some of these folks are going to be a little bit tougher to work with? What do you do with those folks?
So this, when I started at Neo4j, I took over for a leader that had built the team.
Yeah.
And there was deep, long-standing friendships there, relationships there. I did not at all try to take the approach of like, hey, I want to be buddies and friends with everyone. It was, hey, let's talk about your deals. Let's talk about your opportunities. Let's dive into, this deal that's just getting into a POC, where are we at? What is the business problem we're solving? Who do we think cares about it? Why would they do business with Neo4j versus an internal build or nothing?
Yep.
I tried to help a lot of the AEs look around corners.
Yeah.
And figure out where are we not aligned in this deal and what's our plan for the next couple of weeks. That's my favorite part of sales, honestly. That's why I'm in this profession and why I love doing it is deal strategy, talking shop about the opportunities, like how do we figure out what's qualified versus what isn't. I'm just naturally drawn to that.
Yep.
And use that as a way to over time build a relationship and trust and respect with the AEs, right? If I'm going to invest in your deals and we're shoulder to shoulder, this isn't your leader barking orders at you. It's two people in a room trying to figure out how we close business together. Over time, that's going to turn into mutual respect and appreciation of like, hey, this person's leaning in and really helping me close deals faster, on time, hit forecast, make more money. So that's kind of the approach, which it took me a little bit of time to come to that realization of like, hey, this is my favorite part of the job. Yeah. Like if I just focus on this, I'll eventually win the respect of the people that matter in the organization.
Yeah. So the theme that I'm hearing from you is like, how can I add real tangible value as quickly as possible? One is, can I do something to help my reps close more deals, which at Neo4j, you guys do very large enterprise and strategic type deals. Like these are massive deals. And the second thing you mentioned is removing obstacles. So yeah, you're not really thinking about all of the, how can I be buddy with people? It's like that, I would imagine as a rep, it's got to be really refreshing because most organizations, the senior folks don't really engage in deals at all. And if I'm being honest, we talked about this yesterday, a lot of reps are like, I don't know if I want my VP of sales in some of these deals. Like we've lost some deals because of that.
Well, that was like looking in the mirror. That was what I felt going into Neo4j because I had never sold at Neo4j. I was going in as a leader. And putting myself in the shoes of an AE, the question I asked myself was like, well, why would I bring this guy to the meeting? Like, what role is he going to play? Make the introduction. Hey, I'm Bryan. I'm Bill's boss.
Yeah.
Right. They're like, okay, why are you here? Is Bill in trouble? Like should we be concerned? Yeah. And so I really took that to heart of like, I gotta learn the product, the pitch. Like I gotta put myself in a position where I can provide value to these folks really, really quickly. Yeah. In order to, get that trust, get that respect. And that morphed into, we had a couple new people at the time, myself included, and we started running, pitch sessions, just pitch practice sessions. Just 10 minutes. We would go around the horn, people would do their pitch and myself included. So I would go through it. And we had a really good uptake there with the new people. They really liked it because we came to realize at Neo4j, we sell to a lot of developers, or that's like the gateway to a lot of our opportunities. Yep. And then we need to build consensus and move up. So you're meeting with app builders, developers, enterprise architects, like that. Those are your 7 out of 10 meetings on a weekly basis. Those are who they're with. And then your CIO, CTO, really economic buyer level meetings, you might get 3 to 4 a month. Yeah. Sometimes it might be 1 or 2. And so the question that we posed the team was like, in those meetings, like, are you prepped? Are you like on a moment's notice? Like, do you know what you're going to say? What's your 5-minute value prop or 15-minute value prop? And how are you going to talk their language so that they don't just say, yeah, go back to the developers. Like we're good. And so that's what we practiced. And, I leave my calendar open and some of the tenured reps saw that we were like myself and the new folks were doing this. And when I knew we had a good thing going from a culture standpoint with the team was when the tenured guys reached out and they said, hey, what is this? Yeah. Like, why are we not included? Like, we want to be doing that too. And that was when I was like, this is awesome. Like we've got I've got the people on board now who want to win. They want to hone their craft and they want to be successful. And I kind of just facilitated at that point, but I would participate as much as they would. And I think they saw, hey, new leaders leaning in, like looking to make an impact, not coming in with an ego or a perspective, like too aggressive right away. And we were able to, it took a couple of quarters, but we had a really good culture within the team.
So let's dig into, so there's a couple things I want to dig into. I think one, what would be really helpful is to dig into, as a VP of sales, how you think about your role in the deals and the value that you add outside of just showing up to a call.
Yep.
And showing face. And then we should talk about this monthly rhythm that you've instituted as well. So walk us through as tactically as you can, how do you decide what deals that you're going to spend time with? And then what's your process from there? Like, how do you get caught up to speed? How do you think about the value that you're going to add? What are some of the things that you do? Let's start with that.
Yeah, I mean, number one is the deal value, the deal size. So we have, I mean, there's as a VP, you can only scale so much. There's only so many deals that you can really personally get involved in. So I would really pick, if it wasn't a top deal, it would be a deal with a newer AE. But typically they're the top deals in terms of ARR, which is what we focus on at Neo4j. So those large deals, right when they're starting to come up, the first step would be, hey, let's run a deal review just internally. This isn't a forecast call. It's a deal review to just talk through, why is this qualified? Like, what's going on here?
What are you looking for in that deal review? And maybe if you could talk through the lens of maybe mistakes you've made in the past also, or any best practices that are maybe not so obvious for you with deal reviews.
So for us, it's a problem that they're going to pay to solve that the executives care about. The challenge that we have at Neo4j is it's cool tech, it's graph database technology. You can do so many cool new things with Neo4j, but our challenge is we have a lot of science experiments in POCs where people will say yes to meetings. They'll continue to take your meetings. They'll continue to take your time and hey, help me build the data model here. Help me try to fine tune these advanced queries we're running on these very large data sets. And that's all well and good, but if it's not solving a business problem that somebody with money cares about and they agree this is the right thing to do, it might not be the best use of our time. And so that's the biggest thing that we have to look out for is we have a lot of people who will say yes to meetings. They want to learn about Neo4j. They want to learn about the technology. And one of the things that we're looking for in those deal reviews is what is the business problem, not in tech terms, in business terms, that is actually going to get solved here, that people care about, and who cares about it. That's what we're trying to suss out. And then in those early stage deal reviews, okay, can we try to leverage myself? Can we try to leverage our CRO or other executives to start to multi-thread? To start to move up, to start to get other stakeholders engaged in what we're building so that they over time can become an advocate for what we're trying to do.
So what will that tactically look like from a multi-threading standpoint? Are you going to reach out to people? Is the rep saying, hey, I'll bring an exec on my team if you bring one on your team? Like what are some of the things that...
Both.
Okay.
Both of those things. At Neo4j, we do a lot of, we'll work with the AE or the manager to craft the note that I'll send. And then continue to follow up on that. Same thing with any other executive. And, we try to match titles to the extent possible in the room when we can. I mean, we're not, several billion in revenue, so that's not always attainable. Not yet. But, when you're selling into some of the largest banks in the world, you can't always match titles perfectly. But we try to make sure, hey, does this person have power and influence? If they do, then, hey, it's worth having some of our leadership in the room as well.
So you do the deal review. You decide this is a deal you want to spend time on. You're helping from a multi-threading standpoint. How else are you adding value? Are you, when you hop on a call, are you immediately hopping on Slack or doing a debrief with the rep, giving them feedback on stuff? What are some of the other areas where you're adding value to that deal?
In the case of some of the largest deals, there's a large bank that we're working with now that we haven't landed the contract with them yet, but we have a daily stand-up call, internal, that I'm a part of. I join probably, if I'm being honest, 3 to 4 times a week. But it's a daily stand-up call on the deal. What are the next steps? We have a meeting tomorrow in New York with this account that I'll be at. So we try to stay really plugged in on what the strategy is. And again, in these environments, it's like shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
Like the hierarchy's flat. It's 4 or 5 people in a Zoom meeting together trying to figure out what don't we know, what are the next steps, how do we get more people engaged. So much that we're seeing now is decision by committee. All across the board, and decisions getting pulled up way above where they used to be at. From like a budgeting line perspective. There's a lot of teamwork required in enterprise selling right now to figure out how we get multi-threaded, how we get multiple stakeholders buy-in, how we figure out who is that 1 or 2 anti-champion that could derail this thing. And what's our plan to neutralize those people?
So you're coming in and basically, hey, I have a decade and a half plus of sales experience. Like I'm another expert here that can like look for things that we might not be thinking about. Right.
That's right.
So love it. Let's talk about the monthly rhythm. So I think one of the things that we talked about yesterday and that I see very commonplace in orgs is what makes forecasting incredibly hard to do is there isn't really a lot of consensus on like if a deal is qualified or not. There isn't a lot of consensus on when we think it might close. There's these pipeline and like reviews that reps will do where they're just like reporting what's like on a dashboard basically. Like, so I think you saw a lot of this in your recent role coming in, and there's a new rigor that you've implemented. Walk us through what that is and what the benefits are that you've seen from it.
Yeah. So, what I really despised about a lot of forecast calls and pipeline calls was basically it's a one-way street of the rep providing information. And most of this information is already in Gong or Salesforce, if we're being honest. They're just providing information, providing the update. They say a few things into the mic. People nod their head and acknowledge, and then there's really not much like response to the AE or the manager of like, okay, well, have you thought about this or that? Or how do we know that this is really the top priority for the chief data officer at this organization? And so it just felt like kind of a go through the motion type of thing. And then the other thing that really perplexed me about the forecast process at so many tech companies is like the forecast gets tamped down every level you go up. Right. And it's just like if it starts at $1 million here and now it's 950, then it's 850, and then like ultimately it's like half of what the rep was calling. And you're just like you're wrong either way. The more you tamp things down. And so what I wanted to do is as a leader, your number one job is to hire and then train and develop people. Number like 1B is the forecast. Like that weekly forecast that you roll up is critical. It needs to be accurate. It has to be accurate. And it needs to be something that the company can rely on and depend on. And that's the profession we're in. And if that's not for you, then hey, that's okay. But that's the reality of technology sales. And so what I've come to realize through my time in leadership is I can get what I want as a sales leader, which is the accurate forecast data. If I really lean in with these reps and give them what they want, which is help me unblock my deals, help me figure out where my gaps are, help me understand, what my next 3 steps are. If I don't have access to the economic buyer, they're blocked at all 4 angles. I can't get to this person. Nobody's willing to help me. Like helping reps figure out what those next steps are, and really understanding through a lot of questioning and listening, where does this deal stand and how can we build a plan? If you can do that with your team, like your forecast is going to be pretty accurate because you're going to know, like, is there really business pain here? Are we aligned to power? Do we have leadership on board or not? And so what that turned into for us was, I changed our operating rhythm a bit where I introduced a new monthly meeting that is literally called an accountability one-on-one. And I got this idea and concept from a prior leader that I've worked with in the past that I worked with or worked under at Akamai. But it's the accountability one-on-one. And this is a meeting where we have one slide that we review. AE preps it before the meeting. I prep it before the meeting. So we both put our commentary in. And there's really 2 metrics that we look at. Pipeline, are we on plan or off plan? Forecast, are we on plan or off plan? It's binary. There's no yellow light. It's either red or green.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just getting right down to brass tacks. You've got 12 of these a year. If you're an AE, it's 60 minutes. It's like a state of the union for your territory, for your business. And we're drilling into, if our pipeline's off plan, why? Like what isn't working? How do we get that to where it needs to be? If pipeline's over plan, what are you doing that's really successful that we can double down on or share with the rest of the team? Same thing with forecast. And that call will be about a 5 or 10 minute review of the numbers and the analytics. And then we're getting right into strategy of deals, pipe strategy, what our next steps are. At the end of that meeting, the AE will assign tasks to me. They'll assign tasks to themselves, to their sales engineer, their leader, their sales engineering leader. And then we'll meet together again in a month. But I get so much in that meeting in terms of what I need to forecast the business accurately.
Yeah.
That then allows me to have the other weekly one-on-ones that we have are very informal, much more freestanding. Like, hey, now do you want to talk about professional development? Do you want to talk about your personal items that you might have, or do you want to just talk about deals? And there's plenty of AEs that would be like, no, I don't need to talk about my family. Like we're good. Let me just talk about deals in the one-on-one. And then our forecast calls were short and sweet because we had the information. It was just a quick status update, maybe a few challenging questions here and there. But that gave the AEs the coaching and development that they were looking for, while giving me as the leader the information I needed to report the business accurately.
Yeah. So this is a monthly accountability one-on-one. You're doing weekly one-on-ones still that are more informal, and we'll typically talk about deal strategy. You're doing a forecast call every 2 weeks.
Correct.
And then CRM updates is something that you talked about as well. I mean, it's probably standard that most leaders would want the CRM updated on a weekly basis, but it probably doesn't happen as often or as accurately as you would like. Talk to me about CRM updates, and like, this is something that is like the mundane part of the business that you have to talk about and do. Like, how did you get buy-in around that?
Yeah. I don't know if we've achieved buy-in around it. But so it's a weekly task on a Friday morning.
Yeah.
Update CRM for your in-quarter and next quarter opportunities.
Yeah.
Now we have started to, we do work with Gong, we work with Fluent. So we are starting to expand the tools that we work with that can provide a lot of updates systematically into Salesforce, so that the reps hopefully do less and less of that updating, and they're more and more out there selling. And there's a couple other tools that we're working, that we're evaluating to just feed a lot more information directly into CRM, so that the reps don't need to. That's kind of like the utopia state we're driving towards. But yeah, so it's a weekly like non-negotiable. I don't need to talk about it with you guys. Like, it needs to get updated. If it doesn't, you're going to hear from me. It used to really fire me up, if I'm being honest with you. Like, why can't this get updated? And it just doesn't anymore. I've just come to realize, like, everybody's got good intentions. If it doesn't get updated, I'm not going to waste emotional energy thinking about it. I'm just going to reach out and be like, hey, need this updated. You missed the deadline. Why?
What's going on, dude? Forecast calls. How do you run your forecast call?
Yep. Good question. We will go from AE to AE.
Okay.
So at Neo4j or at in my current level, we'll go RVP to RVP, which RVP is the frontline leader role. At Neo4j, our deals are, think of this as like typical technology enterprise sales cycle. We don't yet have like a hugely fast moving, high scale, high velocity segment where deals will open and close within a month or within a 6 week window. That's very atypical. So the forecast that we run is really not a factored forecast. It's really a deal by deal forecast that we run. And so the RVPs will kind of go through their business in terms of which AEs have which opportunities. Are they in commit? We have a couple different stages at Neo4j. We have commit, most likely, best case. And we go into the level of detail of like, okay, have we completed the technical evaluation here? Have we achieved the technical win? And that's an important step for us because we close about 70% of the opportunities where we have a technical win.
Yep.
We close about 70% of them. So those are the ones that we really focus on in those in-quarter forecast calls.
Yep.
Of like, okay, we've obtained the tech win. Let's talk through the mutual action plan. Let's pull up the business case document.
Yep.
Let's see where the gaps are or where the alignment is and how much can we really count on this opportunity. If we have time, we'll start to go through in a pipeline review the deals that are currently going through a tech eval.
Yep.
Right. So what are the success criteria points? What does this company really need to see? How are we pacing? How are we tracking? Have we missed any milestones or have they missed any milestones? And do we feel like we're still in a position to win this business? Those are typically the ways that we try to run the pipeline and forecast calls.
Love it. Love it. So one more question on this monthly rhythm. How did you roll this out? Was this like, hey, this is something I'm deciding that we're going to do and here's what it's going to be? Did you talk to your team about it first? Did you get someone on board for it? Like, how do you, this is another superpower of yours I feel that I've seen in action a lot is like rolling out new things and making sure that people are on board and getting buy-in. Like, how did you roll this out and how do you think about rolling out new initiatives and things?
Yeah, with the accountability one-on-one, put together a deck of what this is.
Yeah.
And why we're doing it. And so I walked everybody through this. This was probably a 30-minute meeting where I walked through the deck that I built of
your entire sales force you walked through?
Yes. So now it was run with the AEs and the East team when I first started Neo4j, now with the RVPs. But effectively, like, why are we doing this in the first place?
Yeah.
So like really trying to explain like why change, why do anything.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to explain like in really fine detail, like what this is and what I expect from the AEs, what they should expect from me, down to the point where I built like sample accountability one-on-one slides.
Yeah.
With just synthetic information in there, just not real information there, but like just to show them like literally this is exactly how we want to run these meetings. And at the end, it was like, hey, this is the decision I've made. This is how we're going to run the team, or this is how we're going to run the regions. This is what we're going to do. I'm not really looking for, if you have questions, like, of course, like, please ask. If you have ideas that might improve this, please feel free to contribute those. But I'm not looking for a debate on whether or not we're doing this. That decision's already happened. And I think it, like in general with driving change in the organization, like, this gets talked about ad nauseum with a lot of like leadership books and all other podcasts similar to this, but like explaining why are we doing this in the first place? Like if you're trying to drive change and you haven't really established the fact that something needs to change in the first place, folks are probably not going to go on board and be happy with it. And so the other thing that I've learned too is like, don't assume that the first time that you've explained the why, everybody heard it or read the email or like really digested that information. Maybe they were multitasking, maybe they missed it. So like the why is something that has to get repeated, 3-4 times. So I think explaining why we're doing a change is obviously step number one. And then if you've been able to build the trust and respect of the team, you've already got a lot of early buy-in on any change that you're trying to drive, right? If they're able to trust you and respect you as the leader, hopefully that's something that you've built and earned. That's going to be step one of people being willing to do something different.
Yeah. So you're selling, in other words.
Yeah,
this is the theme in our other interview too. It's like the why change piece. It's you would never try to close a deal without a really strong why change. Here's the business problem. Here's the impact of that. Here's the business impact. If it sounds really obvious, but I think it's really glossed over quite a bit.
Yeah.
How do you think about when you're rolling out new stuff, when you have to partner with like enablement, let's say, how do you think about collaboration there when it's, they don't necessarily roll up to you, but they're a partner. And a lot of times, obviously, they're going to be very influenced by what sales is working on and wants to prioritize and that sort of stuff. How do you think about getting other folks in the company on board?
Yeah, so I mean, you've seen this firsthand at Neo4j working with us, but it's really key to get cross-departmental partners involved in any potential change early to help them author the process.
Yeah.
Give them the opportunity to like have a voice, have a say, have an opinion, input this, put your handprints on it. Like give us your perspective, and be willing as a leader to like implement some of those ideas and some of those changes.
Yeah.
And if you're able to do that, then it's not like the enablement team is doing something that's Bryan's asking for. The enablement team is doing something that we've worked on together.
Yep.
And they've helped author it with me. And that goes for, anything that you're trying to drive, whether it be working with marketing or influencing the product roadmap, right? Bringing those folks along for the journey and they can see it firsthand will make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. A couple big themes from today. It seems like the what's in it for me. That's a question that you take very seriously. Mm-hmm. The people that are involved in this, like, why should they care about it? Why should they change? And the other part is the co-authoring. Like the people that are going to be involved in this, how can I give them a say in this? Because buy-in is obviously going to be much higher.
That's right.
Before we get to the rapid fire questions, I want to ask you a question, maybe put you on the spot a little bit, if you're willing to share.
Sure.
What are you working on right now as a sales executive? Like, what are you trying to get better at?
Oh man, great question. What am I trying to get better at? It's always like when you're really searching when you have to repeat the question. Yeah. Yeah, I think we've got some new leaders at Neo4j in different departments, and what I'm trying to get better at is staying engaged with deals and with the field, and building relationships with those cross-departmental partners that I'm going to need to really want to see how we are going to be successful and agree with the changes that I'm trying to drive.
Yeah.
So I like relationship mapping with different leaders in a for the most part a very remote workforce.
Yeah.
In a way that doesn't pull me away from really my job, which is like making sure that we're in front of customers, we're working on deals, we're helping the A's get successful.
Yep.
So managing those both from a time perspective, you say no to things every week. That just kind of comes with the territory, but building new relationships and maintaining those relationships is really important, and it's easy to lose track of that.
Yeah. How do you keep track of it right now? Is it something you dedicate a certain amount of time each week to do? Is this like, hey, I got to do this. Let me just reach out on Slack and set up a meeting. Like how do you execute on that and hold yourself accountable to it?
Yeah, so great question, especially for this time of year because it's January. Yeah. So I'm resetting the operating rhythm that I have, and it's like a very detailed sheet of like what the operating rhythm is on a weekly, biweekly, monthly, quarterly basis. And for me, a lot of it is recurring meetings with those folks. That's the best way to stay engaged with cross-departmental leaders, bringing them into deals, bringing them into customer meetings, different accounts, and just staying engaged that way. Yeah. And so that they see like, this is what's going well, this is what's really challenging right now firsthand, as opposed to me just constantly telling folks about it. Yeah. And then just putting yourself out there, get to the conferences, go to different teams' QBRs that they're hosting. Even it might be inconvenient at times, like, just be visible. That's part of the job too. Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like such a big part of your success has been, and I think for any sales exec is, hey, a lot of it is like the internal relationships, like removing a lot of the obstacles is a big part of that is the relationships that you have across your org.
Yeah. And I think early on, I didn't place a premium on that I needed to. And you kind of get you can get a little bit of an ego as the sales leader or salesperson even of like, hey, I'm driving revenue, I'm bringing in revenue. Yeah. Like, but that doesn't make you better than anybody else in a different department. You gotta,
it's probably good to double click on that for some of the people listening, actually. It could be tough.
It can be. There's a lot of people that play a huge role in deals and wins with customers that don't get the name and lights and the commission checks. And you're not better than those folks. Getting them on board and aligned with your program and the projects you're trying to drive is really key.
Yeah. Love it. All right. Ready for the rapid fire questions?
Let's shoot.
So I'm curious for you because this is something I don't feel like it's talked about a lot. As a sales executive, how do you deal with stress, prevent stress, anxiety, all of that kind of good stuff?
Yeah. Fortunately, I feel like I have a good natural disposition to compartmentalize.
Okay.
So I can do that better than most. I think I've found out. However, exercise is key for me. I turn into a little whiny baby if I don't exercise. Like I just start to complain way too much.
What do you like to do? Are you an early morning person?
Oh,
do you
yeah.
do group workout classes? Do you hit
Early,
the gym? What do you like to do?
Early morning work group out class. With some guys in town. A couple of them are in tech, but most of them aren't. So it's just like it's just catching up with some good people. And I get that out early because once the day starts, it's the job that I have and the fact that my wife and I have 2 little kids, like it's just not you're not gonna get many like 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock workouts. So like get there early, get it done. As my wife would attest, like I'm always into different hobbies. So I play men's league hockey twice a week. Like
cool.
that's huge.
You get all your teeth, it looks like still.
So
that's
far,
good.
yeah. I wear the full cage, so I'm not messing around. And then I coach. Like the other thing is I coach. So our 2 boys are 9 and 7. They're playing all sorts of different sports. Obviously, with the travel and a demanding job, you can't be there all the time. But I try to coach as much as I can. And when I coach, like the phone's in the bag. Yeah. Right. And I tell the team like, hey, like even last night, for example, I was like, hey, between 6:15 to 8, like you're not going to get an answer from me, but I'll reply at 8 once I get back home. Yeah. That's just a really good way to like just unplug, do something different. So that's a great way to like just get your mind off things and deal with stress.
Yeah. So physically work out, taking care of that stuff. And it sounds like very clear boundaries with your team, knowing like when you're going to be unplugged and that sort of thing.
Yeah. And there's times where like end of quarter or, something's going on. Like if, hey, if you can't be at a practice or a game, like that's okay. Yeah. But like last night, for example, this was a topic that could have waited for an hour and a half. And I was like, yeah, I'm coaching. So I'll be back at 8 and I'll reply and all is well in the world.
Love it. How do you think about work-life balance? And you sort of answered some of this stuff, but do you think it exists? Is it something that you have to create strong boundaries for? Like, how do you think about that part?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. It is. So we're a remote workforce, at least in the U.S. we are. We have big offices in Sweden and London. But it's interesting. Like I used to have a commute, which was like clearly defined boundaries from home to the office. Yeah. Now my commute is from the kitchen to walking 20 steps to my home office. Like, right. So you don't have that like clear like separation and those lines can get blurred really, really easily for anybody that works predominantly from a home office. You have to find a balance that works for you. There's gotta be a boundary somewhere of prioritization of when I will work and when I will answer things and when like, hey, this is something that can wait till tomorrow. Yep. Like, I learned this from a leader at Akamai where, I had a tendency as an AE to run pretty hot. And so I would like a lot of urgency, try to go fast. And I had a leader where if I sent something after hours, if it was a really big priority, I'd get a response right away. But otherwise, like wait till the next morning. Yeah. And I picked up on this over time of like, okay, this guy's trying to like, not only like inform me like, hey, this is something that could have waited, but also like protecting his time as well. Yeah.
It's like not everything is urgent.
Correct.
You got to be able that's that Eisenhower matrix, right? You sort of answered this question, but what's a lesson you learned from one of your previous leaders that you still use today?
Yeah. So I'm going to shout out Doug Tilford, who's CRO. He was leader at Akamai. I think he ran the Americas at Akamai while I was there. But he came to Cambridge, Massachusetts, took the inside sales team out for like happy hour, dinner. I think there was probably 9 of us maybe. But, Akamai was selling to the federal sector, like largest tech companies in the world, largest financial services companies in the world. We were the inside sales team selling to like up and coming digital natives and tech companies. Yeah. He gets to the happy hour and he's like, hey, Bryan, like, great to meet you, Doug Tilford. He's like, hey, congratulations on these 3 deals. Like, he knew the opportunities that I had closed the month prior, and he knew everybody at the table's deals. Yeah. And, like, the takeaway for me there was, like, first of all, I was all in. I was like, holy crap, if this guy cares that much about us and our deals, like, that says a lot about the culture at the company.
He's
and, like,
engaged.
we're being looked after in a really productive, good way. And like the takeaway there was like, you just got to give a shit about the people and what's important to them. Yeah. And that was the big takeaway that's really stuck with me. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I love that. I keep a little note in Notion with 2-3 bullet points for each of the people that works for us, and like what motivates them, what's like going on in their life that's really big right now. Like those little extra things like make a huge difference. My last question for you is, if you were a first-time VP of sales all over again, what advice would you give yourself knowing what you know today?
I would have fast forwarded to fall into the process that I currently follow, which is try to educate the AEs and the leaders on what you do best. Mm-hmm. How did you get into this position in the first place? Like you clearly did something very well and effectively to get into this position. Mm-hmm. What was it? And how can you spread that knowledge throughout the team? Yeah. And for me, it was like what I love to do and what I enjoy about sales is the deal strategy, the negotiation, like the qualification frameworks that we go through, like where are we strong, where are we weak? Like that's what I like to do. That's what I had skill at as a seller. And that's what I'm trying to really distribute throughout the organization. In my first couple of years in leadership was, that wasn't always the biggest priority for me, and it really should have been, and it would have built the trust, respect, and consensus that I thought was the number one priority.
Yeah.
So that would be the biggest thing is like, what are you best at? How did you get this position in the first place? And what's your plan to scale that out across everybody?
I imagine too, that's probably the thing that energizes you the most about your job, which is an important thing to do too. It's like there's so many different ways to be a VP of sales, and like really leaning into the stuff that energizes you. It's it's a tough job that you guys have.
It is. I do think the frontline leadership role is still the hardest at any company. Yeah. I'll challenge anybody who feels differently. I think at a company like frontline sales management role, that's the hardest job in any company. And once you can really do that effectively and find a lot of fun and enjoyment in it, I can't express how much the entire broader company and sales leadership team and e-staff team, they know who the top frontline leaders are, and they respect the hell out of those people.
Yeah, love it. Before you take off, where can people go to connect with you, learn more about Neo4j? Like, are you guys hiring right now? All of that good stuff.
We are, yeah. So we actually have a leadership position open for the digital native team on the West Coast. So we want that person based in the Bay Area. And then we have 5 sales positions currently open heading into the new year, which is awesome. Yeah, so I just posted this on LinkedIn. That's the only social platform I'm on. Yeah. Trying to minimize the noise. I've been off Facebook and Instagram for a little while, and honestly never looked back. But yeah, hit me up on LinkedIn, look through our job postings. If you want to send me an email or a text, I'll get back to you. But yeah, that's the best way to get in touch.
Cool.